All right, welcome to those who are joining. We're just going live. So, as you can see, let's give it a few minutes for others to join on. Don't audit the law live tonight on YouTube and TikTok simultaneously. So, again, welcome, guys. As per usual, just share the live so others can jump on. Um, let's not be selfish with the knowledge to be shared here. But yeah, welcome. Let's give it a few for others to jump on. For all who are here early, thank you for being here. Let's give YouTube some time to build up whilst TikTok is building up. Yeah. Noted. Please note to come with your questions. If you have questions, I'm going to take a lot of questions tonight. If you have them, greetings Ash on TikTok. Greetings. Um, Yeah, RT. See ya. See you there. We have an hour and a half here, everyone. So, welcome to those on YouTube. See, we're building up there. Um, I'm simultaneously streaming on TikTok for those who are on YouTube. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Greetings, Triple RH2 on YouTube. All right, TikTok is building up. YouTube is getting there. It's warming up. So I normally stream on one platform at a time, but I'm just trying to stream on both platforms at the same time. So again, get ready with your questions. Um, get ready with your questions. We have an exciting discussion tonight. Primarily going to be focused on how to beat traffic tickets. Yes, that's going to be a lot about what we're going to be focusing on tonight. So how to challenge them, win them. Um, a lot of it will be general information, and then we're going to look also at um, search of vehicle and the law that governs that element there. So yeah, let's get ready for an exciting night tonight. Um, TikTok, YouTube. We're what 83 people now on TikTok. Warming up. Let's give YouTube some because I literally just created the schedule live on YouTube. So again, for those who are just joining, get your questions ready um, because I will take as many questions as possible tonight. All right. So please share, so others can jump on. Well, let's give it about 2 more minutes and then we will get started with tonight's discussion. All right, 2 minutes. Sounds good? 2 minutes. 2 more minutes. 2 minutes, guys, and we're going to get started. 2 minutes. For those who are jumping on and seeing what's going on, this is Don't Audit the Law, the channel where you can get the information that you may or may not need, which I believe everyone do should desire to get on the Constitution or constitutional rights as Jamaicans, and also to balance that with the laws that were made to govern this free and democratic society. So let's get ready in another minute or so, and then we're going to get started. All right? People on YouTube, share on YouTube so others can um, know we're here, because I literally just created this live feed for the webcam. Had to change it from the mobile stream that was set up. Welcome to those who are coming on. Omar on TikTok, welcome and good night. All right. All right. So, again, welcome everyone who is here. I hope you can hear me loud and clear on both platforms. And as I said, tonight's discussion will be centered around two topics. One, which is how to challenge traffic tickets and get them dismissed. And two, search of vehicle specifically. So the last time we met here on a live stream, which was Wednesday, we were discussing primarily the topic of search of phones. Anybody on here that was here from Wednesday night? Right. So search of phones was the topic for Wednesday night. But tonight we'll look at search of vehicle and we'll look at how to beat traffic tickets. All right. So again, for those who are the first time viewers on this platform, welcome. Special welcome to you. And for those who have been here for the last week since these live streams have begun, thank you for being a true supporter of this platform. This platform is for sharing knowledge from myself and from you also to me and to the wider Jamaica. Now, disclaimer, the views and the knowledge conveyed from on this platform, the author, myself, has made every single effort to ensure that this is an accurate, everything that is said here is an accurate reflection of the law and the Constitution. My views, as are expressed, comes primarily from case law. Where there is no case law in Jamaica, I seek guidance from case law in the Commonwealth. That's the UK, Canada, and including the United States of America. I remind you viewers last time we met that any rights, any constitutional rights that you believe Americans have, Jamaican's constitution is worded much more stronger than the US Constitution. So I just want to remind us, because I know a lot of people like to say, you think this is a United States of America? And I'm just repeating this for those who are being here for the first time and others, that when you look at the rights preserved in the Constitution of Jamaica and compare same with the rights preserved in the Constitution of America, you will see that Jamaica's Constitution, as it is written, for example, the right to privacy, the United States of America does not have an express provision in its Constitution for the right to privacy. In Jamaica, we do have an express provision for the right to privacy. In Jamaica, we have an express provision for protection from search of person and property. In the United States, that's the part that the Supreme Court used to assume the right to privacy in the United States. The United States of America does not have a freedom of movement provision expressly stated in the Constitution. In Jamaica, we do. In the US, the freedom of movement is assumed from the right to liberty. In Jamaica, we have the right to liberty as a separate right from the right to freedom of movement. I just wanted to make sure that we all understand this and to know the facts and not the propaganda machines that are out, for example, to try to discredit me and my effort to convey knowledge to you, Jamaica land we love. Now, shall we continue? So, rights preserved, such as the right to move freely throughout Jamaica, is a constitutional guarantee. The right to privacy, the right to protection from search of person and property. Now, I reviewed this case several times before tonight, but I reviewed it again today for this discussion tonight. And that's a case of Julian Robinson versus the Attorney General. That's a case where he challenged the NIDS bill. Now, if you were to look in that bill, that case is like 300 plus pages long. Yeah. If you were to peruse, I am sure that many of you won't even find the time to go and look at that. Yeah. But if you were to look at that judgment and read into it in detail, what you will see coming out there is that our court mentioned very clearly, or stated very clearly in that ruling, that, for example, the right to protection of the right to a protection from search of person and property. Unlike, there is a comparison being made with the United States and Canada's constitution. In Jamaica, we have the right, it is worded as you have the right to protection from search of person and property. In the US, it says the right to protection from an unreasonable search and seizures. Unreasonable. So our courts have said, the US says unreasonable. Ours said protection from search of person and property. And when you look at ours, though it did not mention unreasonable, it does not mean, though, that you have an absolute protection from search of person and property. But what it means is that the right is preserved so strongly that no little fenke, let's use that word, and no little whimsical things cannot be used, or reason cannot be used as justification for the infringement on that right, as is guaranteed. Yeah? So the wording of the Constitution, granted our Constitution is far younger than the US and Canada's Constitution. And that could explain why, because of the maturity as time progressed and human rights became more and more of a thing, and Jamaica then said, well, because we did a 2011 amendment, then Jamaica said, well, we're going to, in line with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and all the other international treaties. Well, this is what the agreements say, so this is what the Jamaica's constitution will say. Yeah? So, viewers, this is just giving us a context as to where everything is coming from. But I know primarily a lot of you is concerned about the RTA, the Road Traffic Act, and 2018 and the laws governing that. Because I'm going to tell you, I have recognized that the Road Traffic Act is being used as some scapegoat, I'm telling you, it's almost as if constables are sitting down and be like, well, Firearm Act too complicated. Sure, the Constabulary Force Act too complicated. All them read it. And the Federal Laws Act too complicated. So here I go on. Since all of the rest of this is basically look at appears to be how they are thinking. Since all of the rest of the law them have too much complication to express a saying reasonable or probable cause or reasonable suspicion, we come like them and say we can't bother with that. So make a look on the Road Traffic Act. I see one comment one time when one constable said, if every other act failed, the Road Traffic Act now failed. And I said to myself, stupid? Really think say Parliament could have passed that law, granted that all the others were designed to be in alignment with the Constitution. And you all are going to sit down and be like, the Road Traffic Act can't fail? Now, viewers, I'm going to tell you where the issue comes from. Because I discovered just recently where the issue of constables believing that they can randomly / arbitrarily stop vehicles come from. You want to hear? You wouldn't really want to hear. Come on, man. Send the thumbs up them so we know really they hear. I'm going to tell you, we actually find where it come from. Many of you might not be shocked, but it's important that you all know where this whole thinking that they can stop vehicles randomly under the Road Traffic Act. I found it. So send the thumbs up so we know so we all are here and interacting. Because I'm going to let this out shortly as we progress. Because change, viewers, subscribers, is important. Change does not come easily. But for one to change their ways, then one must have an acceptance of where they're coming from. One must be able to accept their mistakes, and then once one accepts the mistakes and or the misinterpretations, then changes can come. And I'm going to point out to Jamaica land we love where the issue is coming from. Just hold. So the two persons send thumbs up on TikTok, So they want to see, So nobody else don't want to know where it come from. Nobody else don't want to know where this whole concept of randomly stopping vehicles come from. We don't want to know. YouTube, we don't want to know. Coming up, man. Coming up. This is really critical. Coming up. All right. So great. So now I've seen enough interactions on the platform for me to be reminded that we are all here. Great. So excellent. Good. Gentle people. I know the general population does not have access to the public interaction policy of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. I know. It's not available online. You see, every workplace has some policies. And in these policies, that's what guides the workplace and how things are done. The public interaction policy was developed in 2011. Well, prior to 2011, but it was, I don't want to use the word enacted, but it was activated and became policy in 2012. Granted, this was even after the Charter of Fundamental Rights and Freedom Constitutional Amendment Act 2011 became law. The JCF activated this public interaction policy. You see, when you're looking at the public interaction policy, gentle people, right up at the top, and you see the JCF outlining before it gets to the procedures. The JCF outlining its procedures. Before the procedures, it's outlining, the Constitution and letting constables know that they are to operate in alignment with the Constitution. The JCF got quote, just like the other constables out there are doing. The JCF, in that policy document, quoted the revoked / amended element of the Constitution as it relates to freedom of movement. Published that policy document. Remember, this was a 2011 amendment to the Constitution. It became law in 2011, which means that it set Governor General assent to it. In 2011, going to 2012, the JCF published that public interaction policy and made it effective. When that happened, the Constitution was already amended to remove one of the clauses that they relied on, which is that though people have the right to freedom of movement, if there is, actions taken on the grounds of public safety and all of that, so on and so forth, then they can take actions arbitrarily and stop vehicles arbitrarily, basically. Yes? They ran with that old version of the Constitution, created the policy. As far as I'm concerned, because I have not seen an amendment, that policy document remains in effect right now with the amended provision of the Constitution. And it gives, as far as I'm concerned, constables the impression that they can go ahead, that the Constitution, the old version, prior to 2011, is still in effect. And that because of that, if they stop a vehicle under the guise of public safety, yes, then because of public safety purposes, then they can just randomly take up a vehicle, and then the freedom of movement is no longer deprived. But they missed that the 2011 amendment to the Constitution removed that altogether for obvious reasons. Viewers. Because if you read the policy document, you will see where the policy document acknowledged that the policy was developed because of several actions being taken by constables against fellow retired constables, so on and so forth, and the public at large. That's why it was developed. But the document in its current unamended form, that is the outlining constitutional provisions that are no longer a reflection of Jamaica's constitution, is sad. Very sad. I ask myself, who in God's name is advising law? Who is it that is giving legal advice to the constabulary force? It should be the Attorney General Department. But it's clear to me, having reviewed this document, that terrible advice is being given. And I make no apology. Now, if there's an amendment to that document, one of you constables can say it come, but I have not seen any amendment notified anywhere in the public sphere. Because while the document is not available on the internet, that's a public interaction policy. Anytime a force order comes out, changing that is normally publicized. Yes? So the misconception that police officers can randomly stop a vehicle comes from the very policy document that was conveying to constables that they can actually stop vehicles at random. In fact, the same case of Hemans versus the Attorney General. Now, this document came about in 2012. And in 2013, Justice Batts came about with Hemans versus the Attorney General. 1 year after, came about with a ruling in the case of Hemans versus the Attorney General. And that ruling made it clear, because the policy was developed based on the old version of the Constitution. Justice Batts at the time both ruled based on the old version of the Constitution, and he acknowledged a new version of it. Yes? And even then, Justice Batts in Hemans versus the Attorney General said, no go so. The Road Traffic Act didn't convey any powers to randomly stop vehicles. Porgy, I hear you. So, viewers, subscribers, it's important for us to understand that if it is true, because I have not seen an amendment or any notice amending the public interaction policy to reflect the now 2011 version of the Constitution. Yes? Then I am saying that the blame has to be placed squarely at the feet of the constabulary force for having an old version of a policy that does not reflect accurately what the constitutional provisions are since the 2011 amendment. Yes? All right. So that's where the issue is coming from, as far as I can tell. Now let's talk about DJ Romeo 33. The policy is internal and doesn't supersede the act. I agree, it's internal. That goodly explains why it's not published online, right? Because don't get me wrong, the policy still works. Like if you look at the procedures in the document, the procedures that are outlined in the document, they do not give the police, they do not tell the police that they can do anything. Like if you look at the procedures, separate apart from it quoting the Constitution and saying that, hey, you can arbitrarily, rights to freedom of movement are not absolute, and then you can arbitrarily do this and that based on the provision in the Constitution. The procedures, when you read them, those procedures that are set out in the public interaction policy do not support an officer stopping any vehicle to ask them for driver's license. So there's two parts of the situation. If a constable who is reading the policy document and just the introductory part, and they see where the force quoted some provision of the Constitution that is currently no longer the Constitution, a reflection of the Constitution of Jamaica, yes? But that was the previous wording in the Constitution. And then when they read that, them stop this and say, what? We can't stop that, means we have a port, we can't stop reading randomly, man. But then they fail to look at the procedures now that follows those words. And because if they were to look at the procedures, just like I looked, then they would recognize, constables would recognize that nowhere in the procedures, whether stop and account, stop and search, what to do when the vehicle stop, none of those procedures still give the impression, or should give the impression to constables, that they can stop vehicles at random to demand documents and driver's license. So it's a two-side of the coin, and a two-side issue, and a two-side problem. Yeah? So I am still saying that the JSCF needs to amend, even though that's an internal document, and that the document said that they're to follow the procedures set out, and not necessarily the words up top. But come on now. Some people who are reading will read that part and run with it. And that seems to be what is going on. Yes? So for those who are on here right now on TikTok, I know some of you are saying that what I'm talking, it's, based on what I'm talking, it seems too intricate, too detailed for many people it's just going over their heads. Listen, I am trying my best here to break these down as best as I can for many of you. It's difficult to dumb down how many of this is presented, but I'm sure the audience here can manage what I'm saying, and at least will catch the rebroadcast to try to fully understand what's going on. All right? So, I can tell any constable who's on here tonight that remember that you're bound by the policies, the procedures set out in the public interaction policy. And those procedures that are set out, whether it want to be under stop and account, stop and search, none of those procedures tell us you can randomly stop anybody's vehicle and demand documents and driver's license. None of them. Remember, I have the document, so I know what I'm talking about. Continuing. So search. In that policy document, though not many laws or no law that I've seen defines what search is. The police public interaction policy defines search. Search. Hear what the police public interaction policy defines search to be now. Search. A police operational activity involving the systematic examination by law enforcement officers of a person's properties or places. I'm going to repeat the definition there. Search. A police operational activity involving the systematic examination by law enforcement officers of a person's properties or places. Who did tell me say again, or who did I try to tell me again, say, examination of a driver's license is not a search again? Anybody? You still hold on upon that? Anybody? Anybody? Because the police public interaction policy say the activity involving the examination by law enforcement officers of a person's properties or places. And as far as I can tell, the law defines your driver's license as a person's property. So, is there anybody here that tell me that when the police stop people to examine a driver's license, That's not a search of a property. Is there anybody? Yeah? It falls right under stop or search. Stop and search. Right in there. All right, so triple RH2, section 37, subsection 3. All right, let me address that now. Because I see the same Constable Raymond, who has now deleted this video. It went viral on almost every platform. Constable Raymond put out a video speaking about somebody, he didn't call my name, who is trying to build YouTube and TikTok account. Yeah? And in that address, Constable Raymond started by saying that he was trying to attack the person. Yes? And he's showing his knowledge in his uniform. So I take it he was representing the force. And Constable Raymond started by saying, Section 37, subsection 3 of the Road Traffic Act gives the police a power to do this. Hear me to myself. The first thing I could say is this. Constable Raymond, you are reading from the revoked Road Traffic Act. And even if you are reading from even if the revoked one was still in effect, then what he's saying did not make sense. Because the same section did not support what he's saying. That section 37, people have to be careful enough. And the same thing we just talked about a while ago with the Constable Force. When their policy was developed was published after an amendment was made to the Constitution, yet they still quoted elements of the Constitution that was amended and is no longer a reflection of the Constitution. Constable Raymond came and did the same thing, holding on to a law that was revoked about 2 years prior, that 2022. That Road Traffic Act 1938 is no longer law. And if anybody take up the 2018 amendment to the Road Traffic Act, which is the Road Traffic Act, it's called the Road Traffic Act 2018, and you look at the Road Traffic Act 2018, what you will see in the Road Traffic Act 2018 is that there's no section 37 that says anything like what you all are talking about. So it's the same problem, the same problem. We are reading from revoked or amended versions of laws. And we have to be careful because that's what's happening. So I don't want to see nobody else talk about section 37.3 again. We at least learn something and just don't mention section 37.3 again. Kind of have nothing to do with stop and the search. Yeah? Thank you very much. All right? So don't fall into the foolish trap and continue to talk about section 37, subsection 3. Because that section 37, subsection 3, has in the Road Traffic Act 2018 has absolutely nothing to do with the police power to stop. All right? So again, all the people like Constable Raymond, who is talking about section 37, subsection 3, you're reading from the 1938 Road Traffic Act, which was revoked. By the 2018 Road Traffic Act, which became law in 2022. Okay? So be careful. Be careful. Continuing. Now, like I said, Current Media JA, driver's license and property of the state as your passport. Current Media, you're probably coming here for the first time, but I'll just say this for you and others who are here for the first time on both platforms, that driver's license is property. The Constitution did not say it protects personal property or property that you own 5% of or property that you only have a 10% interest in. Your passport is your property. Your driver's license is your property. Your land title is property. I'm going to use the word property. Is property. Okay? Your driver's license is property. Your passport is property. Your land title is property. Your land is property. Your house is property. Your laptop is property. All of these things are property. Do you have absolute control and decision over these properties at all times? Can the government seize these property from you? Yes. The government can seize any property by due process of law. But that does not take away from the fact that it is property. And the Constitution gives you conveys a constitutional right to protection from search of property. Language now. The Constitution did not say property you own. Absolutely. It says property, which also includes whatever property that you have in your possession. The Interpretation Act defines property as any description of property. Yeah? Any description of property. So it is in your custody, which means it is in your possession. If the land is in your possession, it is property, and it's your property. There's a doctrine in law. Some of you want to get a pen or something and write this down. Sometimes I've decided, because somebody commented and said, you're talking over their heads. Some people are not following. I understand that some people are not following, and I resist that. Now, there's a doctrine in law called the doctrine of relativity of property. But it's the first someone I hear the doctrine. No life. It's called the doctrine of relativity of property. You know what the ultimate law of property is in Jamaica? Let me tell you now. All the land, the registration of title act and and all of those property law we don't want to read. At the end of the day, you see, the doctrine of relativity of property is an accurate reflection of the totality of what property law is in Jamaica. And you know what that doctrine said, viewers, subscribers? Remember to write it down, you know. Yes, Triple RH. Again, write it down. It's called the doctrine of relativity of property. Many of you have never heard of it in your life. Okay? The doctrine of relativity of property basically says this. Any man who possesses the property, him have a good title until someone with a better right to possession come forward and claim that property. That is the law of property in Jamaica. So all the act one want to read, all the, our word want to exist, and somehow they might misunderstand. For those of us who practice or argue any cases or draft cases are intricately involved in property law, which is one of the most complicated areas of law. Second only to constitutional law. The law of property. So you all can go research tonight. Remember, Mr. Dunn telling you the first time tonight. For some of you who might not know it. Only those attorneys on here who might know it. The doctrine of relativity of titles. Relativity of title is the law of property in Jamaica. The common law of property, which is law. And it says, if you have possession of property, you have a better right. If you're in possession of the property, you essentially have the better right. You have a good title to that property until and unless someone with a better right or claim to possession comes forward. And if no man ever comes forward, that property is yours. You are the owner. Anything you possess, the doctrine of relativity of titles says you have a title. You have an ownership claim to that thing until someone with a better right to possession comes forward. And that includes the state. If the state believes it has a better right to your title, to your driver's license, I have many angles I can take this, guys. I know some of you are just warming up to what I know or what I don't know. No, that doctrine does not apply to land only. It does not apply to land only. I repeat, the doctrine of relativity, The doctrine of relativity of title does not apply to land only. And if you were to do your digging, you would recognize that it is used in even personal effects. For example, this. If I find this, all right, let me try to explain to you again. Basically, it works. This iPod. The iPod is in my possession. Let's say I found this iPod on the road. We never thief it. We find it. The doctrine of relativity of title says this is now my property until and unless someone with a better right to possession of this comes forward and assert that right to possession. And it goes even further now into this Limitation of Actions Act and other limitation laws. All right? So it does not only apply to land, it applies to personal property too. The doctrine of relative title. It applies to land and personal property. All right? Question on YouTube. So what about larceny finding? Well, if you find something on a larceny, that's clearly not larceny, because larceny requires you to take something without someone's permission with an intention to keep it permanently. And, you know, I have already alluded to what permanently means by sharing case law on permanence and the court interpretation of permanent. Because permanent is really defined by the court. The Larceny Act does not define permanent. But so our court on the common law has defined permanent. And our court has ruled at the highest level in our land, the Court of Appeal, and has said very clearly that essentially, once you take something from its original position without permission, and take it from its original position to another position, so from original to a next place, and that is essentially the intent, a proof of the intention to keep it permanently. That's it. That's as simple as it is. The other party would satisfy your burden, and the other party will have to go prove otherwise. That's basically as simple as it is. So once you take something without permission from its original position to another position, yes, the larceny acts as permanence, but the court is a prime interpretation of the intention. It could not be. The court is basically looking and saying the permanent element could not be that. That couldn't mean say, what if the man take my car, thief my car without my what if the person took away your car or took possession of your car without your permission, gone with it for 10 days and carry back on you? What I say? I never thief him, I thief it. I never thief it. Because he won't take it for 10 days. You see the permanency? So once he move it from one place to another, that satisfies the permanent, the intent to keep it. Because you can prove in their mind. Nobody could have never got jail for last unless they confess. Yes? So the permanency is satisfied when you prove that the person moved it from one place to the next without your permission. Okay? And that person now in their defense will have the burden of putting together a defense to prove that their intention was never to keep it for all times. So on and so forth. Yeah? But the element of permanence is satisfied once you can prove that they're moving from one place to another place. Again, you can read the excerpt that I've shared on both platforms, TikTok and YouTube. All right? Let us continue. So, viewers, it's imperative that we understand that the law is wide, and the law is not only reflected in statutes. And the laws cannot be just read. Sometimes if you read it in layman, that's enough. But sometimes you have to read it, many times you have to read it in legalese. Yes? I'm reading this. If you say you'll believe, you lose. your case. However, if you say you know, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yes? That's a good one. Mr. Dunn, the police is of the belief that they can't be sued. Okay. Well, that is also another issue that we're having too. Constables, read Section 33 of the Constabulary Force Act. I repeat, read Section 33 of the Constabulary Force Act. Second, apart from that, constables, I want you to all to read Section 28 of the Interpretation Act. I think at the last two paragraphs, where it outlined that if you act outside of your enabling statute, that Section 28 of the Interpretation Act makes it clear that if you, as an agent of the principal, act out, for example, now the enabling statute, which is the statute that created the creature of law, the Constabulary Force, is the Constabulary Force Act. Once you act outside of the confines of the Constabulary Force Act, the Section 28 of the Interpretation Act, which is said Constabulary Force Act, says applies to it, the Constabulary Force, states that you can be held liable personally for actions you take once it goes outside of the parameters of the enabling statute, which is the Constabulary Force Act. Or in the case of district constables, the district constable. I'm sorry, the rural police, that act. Yes. All right. Then now, come now to Section 33 of the Constabulary Force Act, which outlines whenever someone is going to sue any constable, what you have to say and plead and prove. To sue any constable, Section 33 of the Constabulary Force Act says, you're welcome, Age of Aquarius, says that you have to state expressly that the action taken by the constable was done either maliciously or without reasonable probable cause. You have to say that. And that is why I continue to say the constables again and again and again and again and again, and then now get it. I never refuse it. That if there's a section of law that says that basically says that somebody can sue you for taking any action, and any action mean any action without reasonable probable cause. If it's taken without reasonable probable cause, you can be sued personally. And again, Section 28 of the Interpretation Act, for which the Constabulary Force Act says applies, though again, I think it's a second to last paragraph. If you read through the entire paragraph, it states expressly the conditions for under which you can be held personally liable for your actions taken. Yep. So let's just go read those two. I don't want to write them down. I don't want to just come here and run away and just, this is the platform to learn a thing or two and to share a thing or two with me too, so I can learn something. All right. So write them down. Section 28 of the Interpretation Act. For those who are looking for the provision in which a constable could be first held liable for personally liable, down towards the second to last or last paragraph. I don't remember exactly where, but it's down towards the bottom of Section 28. Okay? And you also can take reference to Section 33 of the Constabulary Force Act to address the misconception that constables have that they can't be sued personally now. They are looking at the Crown Proceedings Act. Yeah. Yes, when you take actions, you're taking an action on behalf of the Crown. But the Constabulary Force Act tells us, yes, you act on behalf of the Crown. But if you act outside of what the Constabulary Force Act stipulates and the regulation stipulates, then you can be held liable personally for any amount of money that the government gets sued. When you get that, go read it. I go consult a lawyer. And then Section 33 of the Constabulary Force Act again set out the conditions for suing a constable for taking any actions. And that is if the action was taken without reasonable probable cause or maliciously. Everybody following? Thumbs up if you're following me so far. Give us a thumbs up if you're following so far. They really need to understand. Yeah. Yes, age of occurrence. They really need to understand that. Still try to share the lives to people so others can tag, jump on. I know it's Saturday, getting back into back to school mode. Share that with as many people, although there will be a rebroadcast. Many times I do not broadcast the entire live. Some YouTube it's automatically uploaded. TikTok it's just too much complication to go download that and to re-upload it. So sometimes when I get the time, I upload excerpts. That's a situation. One Danny G Rise. I hope I pronounce his name right. Depending on the condition, yes, they can be sued personally. All right. Great. I see the thumbs ups on both platforms. All right. So then, let's continue now. So, as I said to you, we're going to look at search again, but this time we're looking at search of your vehicle. Search of your vehicle. Again, search is defined, and I'm going to use the definition of from the public interaction policy. A police operation search is defined as a police operation activity involving the systematic examination by law enforcement officers of a person's properties or places. Okay? Now, so what that means? Once the police is going through your properties or your place, yeah, so them make sure they use just to avoid misconceptions, even though I believe they could still just keep the word properties. Yeah. So once the police is examining your properties, a person's properties or places, that is a search. Okay? That is taking place. Now, search primarily, let's look at the workplace policy. Because though policy doesn't supersede law, it is important that we understand what's going on here. There's a workplace that you're working, and the workplace have workplace policies. Those policies are what you have to follow. Because if you don't follow them, then that's what can lead to you being fired or disciplinary action being taken against you. It is this public interaction policy, for example, that sets out the procedures, including what happens when they go make a statement and all them something. Yeah, let's imagine if we go report all the day when we go make a statement in the station there, and then you wouldn't want to know about a breach of policy about this. But anyway, we're not going at that right now. You know, it sets out the public interaction policy, for example, sets out in detail what is to happen on several occasions. If it's a stop on an account encounter, and by the way, if it's a stop on account encounter, that is also a situation where the police have some form of suspicion that something is happening. So even stop and account is not one random thing. It's something that happens where the police have some suspicion of something happening and wants to confirm that suspicion. And in a stop on an account, the police have to, once they come up to the vehicle and they introduce themselves, the policy indicates that if no breach is detected, then they're telling the person to have a good day and sorry for the inconvenience. Yeah? So it's really to stop because there's a curiosity that there may be a breach. But if no breach is detected, they're telling us, bye, have a good day. That's what the policy. Now, if you tell us a document and driver's license, for example, give me them now. No. Continuing. So, when the police is going to search someone's properties or place, yeah, again, which is an examination of your property or place, that is what the police define search to be, then their policy is one of the first things that they have to look at and make sure that it's been followed. Introduction of, they're telling their names, badge numbers, station. All of those things are necessary when a search is being effected. If the police not tell their name, badge number, place where them assign work, that search is being done in breach of operational procedures. Yeah? And I believe that if constables were to follow these operational procedures, it will help, it will aid in reducing this feeling like there are gods on the road. Police, stop your boy, you must stop all over. When police attack you, you must listen. And what is a slavery something? When all constables start to respect and follow the operational procedures, it will help with decreasing some of the ego and the feeling as if they are demigods. I am confident in that. Continuing. So they must first follow the workplace policy, which tells them in clear language that they are to operate in accordance with the laws and the Constitution. Yeah? So again, the policy is there, but it also, and in that policy, it indicates to every constable that when you're going to search someone's vehicle, which again, it is a systematic examination. And again, it says, a police operational activity. I don't think you know what operational means. Operational activity involving the systematic examination by law enforcement officers of a person's properties. So once the constable is deciding to go about that, they follow the policy, and then they are to also look at the law. And the policy dictates how they are to go about doing that search. A stop on account is not supposed to be for more than 5 minutes. 5 minutes. If a ticket are right the ticket and go on. 5 minutes, time done. Now, the police can search your vehicle. The law says it. The law allows it. The Constitution supports it, where that search is demonstrably justified in a free and democratic society. Using the words from the ruling of Julian Roberts versus the Attorney General, that NIDS case. In that case, viewers, you would recognize that the court said, if the law is not reasonable, then it cannot be demonstrably justified. Equally, if the action taken by the police or other organ of state is not reasonable, it cannot be demonstrably justified. So we are running back round now to when your property can be searched. The law that gives the power to search has to be a reasonable law. Thus, reasonable probable cause or reasonable suspicion. All those requirements that are always there. Exactly just dash AI. It should be proportional. So, reasonable is the standard. Now, make us just relax a bit now and reason a little bit. The standard is the law and or the action taken must be reasonable for it to be demonstrably justified in a free and democratic society. In a free and democratic society, viewers, the Oakes test, which is a test used by the court, I've alluded to this over and over again, makes it clear that one of the things, separate and apart from proportionality, that is looked at is whether or not if there's a balance between the rights of the individual and the rights of the public at large. So we want to follow this one because we have never examined this one. We have looked at the proportionality in the sense of necessity, even though there are other things when you look at proportionality. But we're going to look at the law that gives the power to search and the action to search. If it is demonstrably justified, it must be that this law and or action of searching has to be reasonable. And in being reasonable, one of the things you're going to have to look at is the balance between the rights of the individual whose property is being searched and the general public at large. How does this work? It works like this. Me, Jeremy, and Don have a constitutional right to protection from search of property and person. The whole public also has a constitutional right to protection from search of person and property, amongst other rights. When the police is deciding to effect some power, if the law conveys a power for the police to be able to search, that law has to be seen as balanced. It can't just give power if it just jump in at somebody's vehicle. If it just go search it or in their house, if it just search it just so. It must be that something that it could threaten or that is or may be threatening to the lives, etc., of the general public or the rights of the general public is at risk. Thus, the requirement for reasonable action. So if the law is not reasonable, it simply means that the law is not fair. Because the law can't just convey a power to search and say, police, go and go search any house you want. Remember, the person has a right to protection from search of person and property. And if the law is going to give power to a police, law enforcement, to be able to search someone's house, and the person's right to try to protect, it's the rights of the public. So then there must be some issue. There must then be some issue, some offense, something that may be taking place in there that is reasonably suspected. One second. Something that may be reasonably suspected to be taking place inside of your house, which is an offense, which could threaten the lives, etc., of the public or the rights of the public on a whole. If that something is not there, was not seen, the officer don't have reasonable cause to believe that it is there, then where am I going at people in house for? Where am I going to search for? For him own interest? For him own interest? You follow me, gentle people? He cannot search for him own interest. For what? It must be balanced. You must, for the law to be reasonable, it has to be fair. It has to be balanced. It has to be rational. So how does the law obtains and make sure, say, how does Parliament ensures that the law is balanced, is reasonable? Parliament makes sure, say, you all know, say, in that law, say, reasonable probable cause is necessary to take any action. And they do not have to put it in every single statute, especially if it is in the statute that gives birth to the creature of law. YouTube, you following me? Thumbs up if you're following me. So the rights of one does not trump the rights of many. But at the same time, I, Jermaine Dunn, have a constitutional right to protection from search of property. And that is a right. So if the state want to infringe on that right, then they have to balance the needs of the public and my right. Thus, the need for reasonable or probable cause for taking any action, including, may I just put this in there right now, step out on the road and go stop somebody's vehicle because you're depriving the freedom of movement. Why would you be depriving me of my freedom of movement? And if it is a situation where you don't have reasonable cause to do so, me not need you to come check if me have a license. Yes, it therefore must mean that you're trying to protect the public's interests. But to ensure that my rights are balanced and the rights of the public is balanced, then the law could not just allow the constable to just arbitrarily take action. Because that would not be ensuring that my rights, and the rights of the many are balanced. Thus, it's only when there is reasonable suspicion or reasonable probable cause or reasonable cause to suspect that an offense has been committed, is about to be committed, or may be committed. That's when the police have a power to interfere with a constitutionally protected right. Now I pause. Send something like send some a thumbs up or something so we can know that we are fully following. Because we're going to go on a 1 minute break. And if you can't find thumbs up, just tell me say I follow, man. Noted, John Doe. I see another in Clarendon. I see a Nyron Cousins. I see the thumbs ups on YouTube. All right, I see them all, quite a few on TikTok. The YouTube audience, TikTok audience is larger, way larger than the YouTube audience. All right, so let's continue now. So, in a recap, I'm going to come to the questions. So, the questions you have for me, you can hold them, I'm coming to them. I'm going to take them. I repeat for emphasis. Jermaine Dunn have a constitutional right to protection from search of person and property. The Constitution of Jamaica says, save only as may be demonstrably justified in a free and democratic society. That's the only time Parliament shall pass no law and no organ of state, for example, the JCF, shall take no action which infringes on these rights. Now, for our court have made it clear, again in the case of Julian Robinson versus the Attorney General, you can Google that case and just search for reasonable, demonstrably justified or something like that. And you will see it. I think it's paragraph 21. The court alluded to that. The court has said in very clear language, that's a constitutional court, that a law that is not reasonable cannot be demonstrably justified. Okay? For the law to be demonstrably justified and also reasonable, yes, the law has to balance my right to protection from search of person and property, as well as the rights of many. How does the law strike that balance? By requiring, or must require. And if the law itself don't have it in express language, then one have to assume that the law requires that. Because that's the only time, if the law does not, if one is to say that the law does not require reasonable or probable cause to take actions that may or will infringe on constitutionally protected rights, then that is to say that the law is not demonstrably justified. Get it? It's all about Road Traffic Act. We don't need that. We don't need reason. The Road Traffic Act did not say you need reasonable probable cause to stop a vehicle. It not have to say it. But to stop a vehicle is to detain someone. I mean, never start. You never realize now. I have not yet even started to talk about section 14 that deals with arrest or detention, and which stipulates the conditions under which someone may be arrested or detained. Me not even gone there yet. Yeah? And when we go, there's one different story. A different story in a sense where all the people with Road Traffic Act kind of try to use it as a scapegoat to avoid the need to have reasonable probable cause to take any action that infringes on rights. We'll have to go drop and say, no, sir. I'm dead serious and I'm right. And back off. And do, and as I would say, do some real police work. Yep. So, if the law is not reasonable, it can't be demonstrably justified in a free and democratic society. That is the court says so, and I mean say so. Okay? In the case of Julian Roberts versus the Attorney General. For the law to be demonstrably justified, it must be proportional. A part of what it means to be proportional is that the law has to cause the least possible infringement on the right. So in other words, like I said in the past, as long as there is a less intrusive way to infringe on the right, that approach has to be taken. What is a less intrusive way? To require reasonable or probable cause. Reasonable suspicion of an offense. Everybody with me? So anywhere you take it, viewers and subscribers, for the police to be able to infringe on my right to protection from search of person and property, the Constitution imposes a limitation on Parliament. That limitation is that I have the right to protection from search of person and property. For you to go and search my property and my person, you have to prove and you have to ensure, that your actions are demonstrably justified, reasonable. If your actions are not reasonable, in other words, fear, how could it be fear for you to randomly stop a vehicle? You stop mine when I stop the next man. You stop mine when I stop the next 100th vehicle. You stop mine, you probably go decide say, oh, I Tida them, I'm going to stop pure Tida today, because Tida this and Tida that. Or Mark this and Mark that. How is that action reasonable? YouTube, how is that action reasonable? Just think about it, man. Randomly doing something in which free and democratic society could any arbitrary action be reasonable? Is there one person on here? One person? Anybody who beg to differ? You can have a box saying into TikTok. Yep. You can come on, man. I'll box saying on the TikTok. Just answer me that question. And that's probably what we all need to go with going forward. Is it reasonable for the police to stop my vehicle arbitrarily, thereby depriving my freedom of movement. Forget about this license regulation of the road is a road, driving on the road is a regulatory enterprise and all them the argument there. That's not what we are talking about. That's our feelings now. We're talking about the Constitution and the law. You know what I'm saying? There's a saying, you know, if you want to hide things from man, especially the black man, put it in a writing. Yep, just put it in a writing. And that's what happened. It's all in writing, in plain and legalese. So it's kind of hard for us, for many of us, to understand these things. Yeah, man, just put it. Yes, Triple RH, put it in our book. Put it in our book. Yep, just hide it in the book. Can't find it. Continuing. So, can the police search your vehicle? Can the police search your house? Yes. Do they need a warrant to search your vehicle? No. Do you lose all reasonable No. Me go jump. Me go to this now. Many of you have seen me in one of the last viral encounters with the police. That's with Inspector Brian and his crew. And in that encounter, many of you would have most likely seen where in that encounter, the constable was asking me to wind my window down, and I'm asking the constable why. You know? Because I know I don't lose all reasonable expectation of privacy when I'm driving or when I'm in my car on the road. I know that is a law, that I have not lost all reasonable expectation of privacy because I'm driving. So the constable want peeping at my car when she done tell me, say, this is a witch hunt. If she probably want to broke you out, she could have broke you out if she want. We just relax, we fix it back and then go sue and go. These are the cases I sue for quickly, you know. The ones that are aggravating. The ones where they decide to go up on a power play and don't want to restrain themselves and go consult somebody who may know better before they act. Those are the ones that the lawsuits are the actions, other actions completely. So, you want my window to go down? I don't lose all reasonable expectation of privacy when I'm driving on the road. Which is why the police procedures tell them, say, they don't order anybody out of no car unless they have reasonable cause to believe that they're carrying an offensive weapon or a weapon. None of it order nobody out of the car. And you would tell me a policeman staring at back like Inspector Brand. He never ever looking at my car before he continue to step out of the car. Everybody else did that interact. Yeah? Anyway, I won't even go into the amount of breaches we go on there. So for those who, when I said, you must get suspended. Maybe now you start to understand where I'm coming from. The amount of violation he committed amounts to nothing less than suspension. In fact, it amounts, as far as I'm concerned, to demotion from the rank he's in. That I can tell you. Continuing. So, viewers, remember now, you do not, it's a matter of law, it's a matter of constitutional right. Yes, Mr. Dunn says so. Mr. Dunn knows, Jermaine Dunn knows, Dunn audit the law knows that he does not lose all reasonable expectation of privacy because he's driving on the road. So, and Mr. Jermaine Dunn knows, I rely also on the case of Julian Robertson versus the Attorney General, where privacy rights was discussed there. And the court remind me that my privacy rights are not to be taken very lightly. And not because I'm driving does not mean I have lost all reasonable expectation of privacy. You want people in my car? For what? You think me a convict myself just in case anything in there? You know, a fool. Me not, All I need to do is crack the window, because there's no law that says I have to wind my window all the way down. So all I have to do, I'm sure someone if been watching me for a long time would see me do it. Just crack the window them. Yep. So that they can see in there. Yep. We want to wind the window right down. We don't need to wind them right down, all the way down. There's no law that says I need to wind them all the way down. No law that says that. Yeah? Me not see nowhere in another law will give the police no power to tell me if you wind me window them down. In fact, for his or her own safety, what I do is to crack the window. So I understand that. And that is reasonable. For his or her own safety. But me don't need to write them all the way down. And there's no power conveyed in the law for him to tell me to wind them down, all the way down. So it's up to me and them. Yeah? In fact, if the windows are highly transparent, then I don't even need to crack them. There's no law that requires me to crack them. I can talk through the officer, through the glass. So when I wind your window down, this boy ain't afraid of courthouse. I literally live there. Yep. Next week, I am one of those speed tickets that I got long before one of the last one. Because of the hurricane, it was put off, and I was supposed to have a hearing where I challenged several elements of law on the ticket, and the hearing for that was to take place in the time of the hurricane, Beryl. So that case was put off and is coming up next week. So that's coming week. I have that one. You will all be updated on that. All right. I'm looking forward to the fun there. Now, continuing. So viewers, you do not lose all reasonable expectation of privacy when you're driving on the road. You do not. Not because you're driving. You still have expectation of privacy. Yes? So, it is important. It is imperative that we understand. There's no law that says you have to wind your window down. I mean, a lot of people, that is critical for people to understand. No law. And if anybody know otherwise, they can show me, because we don't make no claim of knowing our laws. Right? But there's no law that says you have to wind them down. Out of respect, you may want to do it. Maybe you are not as versed as I am, and so you decide to wind them down. But wait, why the police want to wind the window all the way down? Remember, you have not lost all reasonable expectation of privacy while traveling on the road. So I don't have to, which is why you will see that I sometimes do and I sometimes don't. It just depends on the situation. To each his own. Yeah? Continuing. So privacy rights are there. My privacy rights are preserved on the road, though they can be infringed on based on the circumstances. All right? And again, constable can search your vehicle as long as there's reasonable suspicion of an offense or reasonable probable cause to suspect that you are carrying a prohibited item in your vehicle. I repeat, there must be reasonable probable cause to suspect that you're carrying prohibited items in your vehicle. We have discussed reasonable probable cause before in the past, and for those who missed that, you can try to catch a recap, or you can. But I don't know. I don't see all of who is here right now, but there is a subscription program where if you want, because I can't go over everything, you can. We have these general sessions. If you want TikTok, you can join the subscription program and gain access to subscribers' lives. In fact, when the subscribers' lives are going on, those live sessions, there are many things I cannot share and I will not share. I refuse to share to the general public. If you wish to know all those nitty-gritties and details, you can join the TikTok subscription program join that, and you'll get some personalized time, because that's what that requires, to look at many of those things. All right, that option is there. So, gentle people, but again, the police can search your car, your vehicle, if they have reasonable cause to believe or to suspect that you are carrying a prohibited um, item in that vehicle. Um, Search powers come under many laws. Offensive Weapons Act. Now, you say the police are searched for a weapon that is not a firearm. The jurisdiction comes under Offensive Weapons Act as well as the Constabulary Force Act. Now, because the Offensive Weapons Act is a more special statute that deals with offensive weapons, it takes precedence over the Constabulary Force Act when searching for offensive weapons that are not firearms. If you are to look at the Offensive Weapons Act, the Offensive Weapons Act is very clear. It's a very short law. It gives the power to the police to search for offensive weapons, inclusive of firearms. And if they have reasonable cause to suspect that you're carrying an offensive weapon on your person or in your conveyance. It did not say car, it says conveyance, because it varies. It can be a donkey, it can be whatever. If you're using a donkey cart, that's your conveyance, all right? Now, under the Offensive Weapons Act, viewers, it's imperative for you to understand that the letter of the statute requires for a constable to show their ID before conveying the search. Where no ID is shown, the search is an unlawful search. If I'm me, a police officer search for an offensive weapon and not show me my ID, me know say that's an unlawful search. And guess what? You see, if me resist that unlawful search and anything come after that, as I said, I can't and I will not talk about many things here in this general session. All right? Continuing. So, the search for an offensive weapon requires, under the Offensive Weapons Act, requires the constable to show their ID and, and they must have reasonable cause to suspect. All right? The reasonable cause to suspect, gentle people, viewers, does not amount to the constable basically just saying, I got information. In a work so. It don't work so. Come on, tell us something else too. I want to tell you something else too. I'll say this in the general live here. The subscribers that are here, I do see a few of them just a while ago. I know a few of them based on their names. And when I say subscribers, for those who are on YouTube, they're the TikTok subscribers I'm referring to. All right. So I do know for a matter of fact that the public interaction policy of the police outlines that when a stop and search is done, they have to go and they have to go write an account of everything that happened in their book. And they have to state the grounds under which that take place. You know. You see, because them no know say, you know say they have to write that down. And therefore you can request an Access to Information Act request for that details, those details. You see the lie them when they tell up on the road. Jesus have mercy. When them search you wrongfully and find out you go sue. You see, because them procedure say they must go write it down in the guard book. And you say if you never, sorry, in one book, when they have a station, and write down the grounds, the date, the time, what the grounds under which the search happened, and all that have to be written down. You see, when you put on the camera, when you video them, I tell you the lie, come in, appear lie and tell nobody what they know. Me can't tell you that. You know nobody else. You know about me. Appear lie and tell me. You see, after that, you go and do an Access to Information request and request for a copy of that. You can. It's related to you. It's not exempted. Yeah? And when you get that now, that help if you build a case, if it proves that they never have reasonable problem because he better not put foolishness in their book. Guys, you're following? I'm laughing, I know the constables are here, they probably hate me like poison. Oh. Funny, funny, funny. They are required after a stop and search. Constables are required to write in that book at the end of the shift the details of every stop and search encounter, the time, the grounds under this, and grounds mean the factual justification and the lawful justification for the search. So which section of the law they were enacting their search powers under, and all of that has to be written down there amongst all the details. Has to be written down. Is it really worth the time? $1 million or $2 million sound good to you? Believe me, if enough people like one attorney commenting on Twitter said, I posted that comment in a little video on TikTok and also on YouTube. The attorney said, anytime people start to sue, then you watch the change. Yeah? Anytime you will see the changes start to take place. And when I sue personally. The Cinco, I don't sue for all of these things or interactions. Not everyone. In fact, what I have done for those who are just coming on and not, because I keep after repeating this because some of you are here for the first time. What I do is I seek settlement. You see, in the case of Inspector Brian now, who truly aggravate me, he needs a legal lesson. So because he's proving a point, it's those heinous and those disgusting actions that I will choose to sue for. The rest of them, I use the settlement procedures as set out in the civil procedure rule and otherwise to deal with those. Okay? So I don't sue for everything. You think courthouse have time to pack up everybody in there? There are procedures in which you deal with it. But you see the one that we go above and beyond and overboard, viewers, those are the ones that I will not seek settlement for. I mean, unless a settlement on the terms of a settlement is such a terms that the constable is agreeing to some education program and some other things like that. Yeah, that we can, But otherwise, I would want the man to go through the court so that he can learn something and feel the full consequence of the law. Yeah? So, I don't sue for everything. I cannot advise you to do anything, This is just general information. You choose if you want to take the cue from based on how I approach it. Yeah? But I don't sue for everything. The cases that predates this, and it's not even all of them. Yeah? Like, there's one of the constables that I see this, but he humble, and he still, he'll be on the TikTok channel and he comment here and there. And he said, it's his case. I say, he's shown that he's willing to learn. Yeah? So at him now, film case, not even seek settlement for that. He's not, every time somebody step on your toe again, got court. Huh? No. Every time somebody threaten you again, got court. No. You know everything you run got court for, man. Come on, man. Yeah. Anyway, continuing. Yeah. The TikTok live is logging. Oh, is it? Never realized that. 1 second. All right, let me use. All right, somebody says TikTok live is logging. TikTok is a live logging. Confirm that with me again. But someone is come on YouTube and say the TikTok live is logging. Is it logging? Yes. It's raining. It's a rainy day, so maybe that's why, because the internet now works so well. Oh, Triple R, just see you jump over. I get you. All right. I'll try my best. It's back. Oh, it's back. It's just coming back. Okay. So has it been logging for a long time now, or is it just logging? I want to assume that it has just started logging. Okay. All right. Continuing. So guys, for those, you can always just let others know, please. I'm not suing for everything, and not everything is so far. Yes, it's about educating. It's not about money. Yep, you will take your 10 years to collect, but people like me have youth in my favor. So you can wait. Yes. So, but you I don't sue for everything. And I can't tell us that you don't have to. Yeah, you choose to do what you want to do if you have the time. All right. Okay, couple seconds, got you. All right, proceeding. So again, yes, gentle people, yes, viewers, the police has the power to search your vehicle under the Offensive Weapons Act. If they're searching for offensive weapons, their jurisdiction to search comes under the Offensive Weapons Act. If it is that they're searching for, and also the Concealed Force Act. If it is that they're searching for stolen agricultural produce, that comes under the Predator Larceny Act, as well as some agriculture, something another act. I don't remember the name. All right. So there's special statutes for special things, and based on what is being searched for, that is a statute that takes precedence. Is that clear? Great. That's the one that takes precedence. But remember, in alignment with the Constitution, as I close this chapter, in alignment with the Constitution, the search for a search of your vehicle to be lawful, constable in reasonable probable cause, and that is not just some we got information like one. When name again? Yeah, one brown constable there did stop me one time with another one. We got information that a vehicle matching the description. Like that alone not cut it for reasonable probable cause. Yeah. Duppy voice, police can search a vehicle anytime. You know what? Duppy voice, I agree with you. I want everybody to listen to me carefully. I'm going to agree with Duppy voice. Police and anybody can search anybody's vehicle at any time. You know why? Anybody can do anything they want to. You know what the difference? What the consequence after that? That is where I'll put it. Police and anybody can search a vehicle at any time they want. The question is, what are the consequence? It's just like me can't tell somebody saying can't box me. Anybody can box you. Me can't tell a man saying he can't thief me money. He can't do anything he want. What is the consequence that comes after that? So Duppy voice, yeah, police, yeah man. Search anybody. Listen, nothing now come out of it. I feel me vehicle every touch. Because the Jamaican people are ignorant of the law. And them afraid we go find the money, we go pay attorney. We go file the suit for them. Yep. Make me. And you aggravate. So, listen, it's when it comes to search, once you don't search, you don't tell me already, say, I'm Mr. Search, I mean, search of my vehicle and my property. You don't gone down to undignified attack on my individuals and myself. Yep. So me done right there. So once you start search me and my person, you are step on my dignity as a human. Yep. And so me I tell you, say, once you go that far, you dig up my car and or my house, and me no say that unlawful, straight lawsuit. I remember saying me no need nobody to draft it. Straight. I mean, I make sure say every policeman we did this so we involved is a part of the lawsuit. Okay, Duppy voice. Straight lawsuit. Something I come out of it. If you not come out of it from internal, it will come from the court. All right? So me don't know some of the stay. Just because Jamaicans are ignorant, man. And ignorant the Jamaican population to the majority. Ignorant of their rights and the law. Yep. Yep. Just be careful, that's all I can tell you. Be careful of what? You and if you're a policeman, you and your guns? Not afraid of guns. Come on, man. Come on. You know that all the police, almost all the police report, I know where I live. Know where I am. I'm not afraid of your guns. I'm not afraid of arrest. I'm not afraid of sleeping in jail for nights if it means defending my rights. So you and your police can search. You don't want some a power on our look. Me have power too. Yep. Yeah, man, a distraction. a distraction, a big distraction. Yep. Yep. So you are here, I'll tell you, yes, people. Police, if police feel like you want to search you without cause, of course you can do it if you want. If me feel like me want to see your car and search you without cause, of course we can do it if you want. The question is it lawful? And what is the consequence that comes after it? It's when more consequences start face these officers, and watch how they stop. Because I'm telling you, Jamaica has have a trending, an increase in crime going up. And all the abuse of power taking place that I have experienced, and I can therefore say that it is going on rampantly throughout the country, where police officers are just arbitrarily stopping people, arbitrarily searching people. Crime still go up. So which crime it has solved? You know, solve no crime. See a state of emergency, the police have their draw for. And even with that, it's still not solve no crime. So there is no justification for this deprivation of the people's rights. Yeah? It nah fix crime. So for years now, people have been laying dead to these attacks, are waiving their rights, if you want to ask it, if you want to put it that way. But crime still go up. SOE, it no matter. The man them still are committing crime them within the SOEs and within the Zozo. And I say so, I media say so. Come in did it. Yeah? And I say so. So me not see where this me see sometimes me see the man and just jump in front of some people car and just the man is a driver them business just jump and just fly in front and just fly out and papers. And it's still not stop. Wait tell me say the one or two guns them we find. The one or two guns them we find justify depriving me of my rights and making me feel less than a human. If the police force find, let's say, I'm not remember, probably about 100 guns for the year, and God forsake, when you hear the story them about the WAF and the amount that are coming over there, show it. Yeah? Come on, man. Just sleeping at the Triple RH. Yes? It does not justify the deprivation of rights. No way. And every day the force, the JCF is going to Parliament and ask them more power. Pass more law and make this more stricter. But and it not solve it. All they do, I fly up in the young police, them ego, then the young police, them brain, and then some of the other one, them fly up in them brain, the e-power, and make them feel like them running around. And like them a demigod. That's all it do. Don't get me wrong. There are some respectful, there are some decent, there are some civilized, and some real police out there who knows how to do the work. And do the work how it is to be done. But are the one them which me think are the majority. We just have to go round and feel like them a demigod. Yep. And then jump out and then blow on them. Papers, documents like them are documents, God. Like I'm not state this. Yep. Me there. He said. Me no see no country, inclusive of the US, with the large force and the technology, me not see crime a trend down. We want to understand it now. Jamaica is said to be a murderous country because of the population to the amount of crime. Yep. But more crime one, more people dead in Canada, in Toronto, for example, and in New York, and other parts of the world than we dead in Jamaica every day and for the whole year. Want to remember that. So it's just the way how they look at the statistics. Yeah. So I have a video on YouTube, that I present my position. I strongly believe that if it is a case where the police starts to conduct themselves in alignment with the policies, procedures, and the law, crime will trend down. For reasons, again, obviously, if you're a part of the TikTok subscribers, when we have the next session, then I will speak about the details there. But again, I do not speak about the general things on this general life for obvious reasons. All right? So, last but not least for tonight, for the next 5 minutes from me to you, is I'll say this to all of us. Listen keenly. Drink some water. It's lagging. Okay. Still lagging. Is TikTok still lagging? No, maybe. Good now, great. All right, so hear me out now. Get your ears in plugged and listen carefully. Anybody ever get a traffic ticket yet? When I get the traffic ticket, you never realize it. You not talking about it. You never realize it. I'm going to the part of this live that says how to beat a ticket. If you want more, you have to. I am not going to talk about these things in general lives. I am not. Okay? I will not. Yep. So there is a TikTok subscription program you can join if you want. And you can get these details, but I'll give you this one tonight. You ever look at a traffic ticket yet? And you realize, say, your ticket is your formal document charging you with an offense. The Constitution says you have a constitutional right, and the laws says you have a right to know the nature of the offense charged. Section 105, subsection 9, part A and B specifically part B of the Road Traffic Act 2018 states that you have a right to know the ticket is to state the nature of the offense charge. Nature means the details of the offense necessary for you to be able to understand what you're charged for. Who ever recognize it? You go slow, I want to be here. I mean, I want to do no like that. Who ever recognize it? None of the ticket them, no allege. Well, me never seen on it. I see one heap of them from me and others. None of the ticket them, they whisper, no allege the date of the offense. Only thing the ticket them have are the issue the date. So if the ticket them don't have the date of the alleged offense, I wait you not plead guilty to. Una assume say the date when the ticket was issued or written is the date of the offense. But the tickets, normally the officers, it's clear to me that they don't know. Yeah? It's clear to me that they don't know. May I whisper? May I whisper? The ticket them, me never see one yet. We have the date of the offense. It have the issued date, which does not mean that it's the date of the offense, because that ticket can be issued up to 6 months after. So in the absence of the date of the offense, what are you pleading guilty to? No. The document expresses state ticket issued date. The issued date is not necessarily the date that the ticket, that the offense was alleged. Because I can, if I'm a constable, I can charge you, I can issue a ticket today for an offense that was detected last month. No. Tickets can, TikTok question, statement, ticket can only be issued for the day, for the day the offense is coming. Not Nagosa. Not Nagosa. Not Nagosa. Okay? Not Nagosa. I know constables are on here, so a few of them are getting we don't get say. Not Nagosa. Okay? The issued date, the law states that tickets can be issued up to 6 months. Specifically, Justice of the Peace Jurisdiction Act, which is the law governs the jurisdiction of issuing summons, which is what a ticket is. Yes? I'm going to ask you jump off. I was going to accept you. Right? You just asked to jump on. I was going to accept you on TikTok. Go ahead, TikTok bully. You see, you know. You have a point of correction? Come on, I'll allow you on. Come, TikTok bully. Come, send the invitation again. Okay, I see it. I'm going to accept. Now, please keep your comments and the language clean. All right? I'll accept. So, YouTube, good evening, TikTok buddy. Yes, I'm hearing you. Go ahead. I am hearing you. Go ahead. Yes, good evening. Yep. All right, 1 second. Hold for me with the question. Hold. Yeah, go ahead.
Days ago.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And this week, I am just being able to issue you that ticket.
Yes.
I am supposed to notify you because I'm supposed to carry a pocketbook, you know.
So warn me for prosecution.
No.
Okay.
Because me never see for warn you for prosecution.
All right. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Warning for prosecution are like accident and them thing because you're supposed to have your ticket book with you or your ticket machine. Now, if I wasn't able to issue you that ticket on that day,
yes,
I am supposed to make a record in my pocketbook.
Right.
That are my personal diary of the day, the date, and the time and the place that the offense was committed.
Right.
Right? Now, upon seeing you again, I am supposed to, now, when we issue you that ticket now, and you contest it, and the judge say, boy, such and such, when did you detect that offense or whatever? My pocketbook, you know, it is supposed to be so kept. That's why the judge asked me for that, you know. I'm supposed to present that to the judge as evidence.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
To prove that I detect, and it not really necessarily prove, because you know people can write anything, you know,
right,
truthfully speaking.
Right.
You understand me? I say, boy, if I am being true to myself and to the job that I undertake, then I'm supposed to write down the date, time, and place. And when me and you go court now, the judge asked me to pass that pocketbook for inspection.
Right.
And they can see that on that day, I did record the offense. I may have certain particulars of the vehicle. You understand what I say?
Yeah, man.
Respect what you're doing, on some levels, but you see, we don't really want the people to be misled where certain things are concerned.
All right, let me jump in. Let me jump in with that question, because to the question that the statement I made that I whispered to about is that
I haven't been here long. I just pass me.
Okay. All right. So catch the question, that the statement that was made. Because I believe that was what you were addressing. So let me just recap the statement. The tickets that are issued, the ones I have seen from not myself alone, but from other people, the tickets contain only the date it was issued. Hold on. The tickets contain the date it was issued. The date issued is not necessarily the date of the offense.
Right.
The comment. Yes.
There is a section there.
Yes.
On the ticket book.
Yes.
As well as on the e-ticketing system.
Right.
There is a section.
Yes.
That the officer is supposed to write offense detected on.
Yes.
The time and the place.
Right.
Some people now do that. Whether by negligence or them just not in the know.
That me at all.
Both on the e-ticketing system and the other, they're supposed to write the date because it have to go in the pocketbook,
Right.
So and just that little correction because I pass and see.
Yeah, man. So that me I talk about. I was just pointing on that is not being done. So therefore, that's no in conclusion to that point. That's no grounds for the tickets to be dismissed. Because you are not being notified of when.
You don't prove sufficiently. You don't give sufficient evidence why you detect the offense genuinely.
Exactly. Our particulars. The key word is particulars of the offense detected.
Yes.
Yeah, man,
we know that, man.
I am, man.
You don't give sufficient proof,
something they go on. So, yeah, man, respect. Blessings. Thanks for jumping in.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
All right. Great. So yeah. So thanks to TikTok Bully for that insight there. But yes, gentle people, it is as it is. The tickets, I am not Mr. La Whisper, because there are many more things. But like I said, those are for, and gentle people, like a lot of people, I'm not gonna call anybody, a lot of people have reached out. I said, don't look for the ticket and blah blah blah. All right, do this. Yep. Some get to go there and some follow they follow a lot of them. They follow exactly what the information conveyed, and they go, they present, tickets dismissed. Some recognize that they didn't follow exactly what was said, the guidance given, and therefore they allow the system to bully them and then go pay tickets. But the majority have been able to get them dismissed. So you have them. You can send them. There's a team in place that can there's a team that I have access to. It's not just myself. We can look at them and quickly, most of the time, I'll look at it and just give a person some guidance and listen. Bam, 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 bam. This is not there, this is not there, that's not there. Just go to court and argue that and blah, 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 blah. It might take you 2 times or 2 tries or 3 tries, attendances, but you can always ask for prayer costs and it's gone. All right? Because remember, guys, if you go to court and plead guilty to the ticket, you're a convicted criminal. All right? I repeat, if you go to court and plead guilty to a ticket, you're a convicted criminal. All right? If you pay it before you get to court, you are not a convicted criminal. I said that away, but it is a fact. All right? So, there are many ways to get out of a ticket. Negligence on the part of the constables, so on and so forth. Many of them don't even understand what to write and what to look for. They're given a job to write pleadings and they don't know the law of pleadings, and so it is what it is. But listen, people, I classify this as a game. It's a game. May the best player wins. All right? May the best player win. The state is doing what it is doing. My job is to make sure that I don't. I'm not convicted of any crime. All right? So, whether the crime wants to be committed or not, it is the state's job to prove that I'm guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I don't need to go to court and plead guilty. And a lot of times the state can't prove that. Yeah. So, no, it's not 21 days, it is 10 days. Sorry, it's 30 days you get to pay, up to 30 days to pay the ticket. And somebody said 10 days. Yeah, one next story about the 10 days is a whole bad ticket with one 10 days class that ever something, you know. And when I'm again, gentle people, I am not going to speak about all the different nitty-gritties. The members of the constabulary force have the attorney general department to give them legal advice, and the JCF can hire private attorneys to give the constables advice if they need. I will not be disclosing all of the things I know, for obvious reasons. And for those of you who have these tickets and would like someone to give them a second eye, and point out some of the things, you can inbox me. And there is a subscription program on TikTok, that you can subscribe, and then you will have, the access to be able to, in terms of lives, subscribers only lives, and all of those where details are discussed. Are there any other questions tonight? Any other questions tonight? Any other question? If there are no other questions, you have been a great audience tonight, as per usual. I'll see you again on our next live stream. Our live streams are scheduled for the weekend. So tomorrow is Sunday. We have another live stream scheduled again for tomorrow at 7:10, where we will discuss many exciting topics as it relates to the law and the Constitution. If you wish to join, I'll soon look at the question, Jamaican Gamer. All right, 1 second. If you wish to join into the live, to the discussions, you can send me an inbox, let me know, and I can have that, lined up, so we can have the discussions based on whatever topic you or position you want to present. But I'll see you again tomorrow, 7:10 p.m. same time here on TikTok and on YouTube, where we will discuss, and I will try to teach you the law as best I can. Your question, can a ticket be dismissed which has wrong info, like vehicle info? Well, put it this way. The key part of a ticket is really the particulars of a ticket, of the offense, and the specifying of the offense. Now, the vehicle information, it may not be top up there, so are you referring to that information is at the top of the ticket? Are you referring to the part that says specify the offense? Because the law mentions nothing about specifying the vehicle information, so to speak, up there, except where the constable can write the vehicle information if he's trying to detail the offense and particularize the offense. But as it relates to the license plates, this is a question on TikTok, gentle people. So the license plate, number, brand of vehicle, etc. Well, there is something called in law that we call substantive, and a matter of substance versus a matter of form. Now, it has to do with whether or not it goes to the substance or the form of the ticket. Did he didn't write the appropriate date, the appropriate vehicle brand on the top part of the ticket? I think that is going towards form and more as to substance. You see, the part that is really critical is the part that contains your name, so your name, the date of the offense, the location of the offense, the particulars of the offense. That's what's important. and the specifying of the offense. Anything else? TRN, not so critical. It can be a typographical error. It could have been a. Those are matters of of form. And listen, I think we can pick this up tomorrow. So I will pick this up with you tomorrow. It's a matter of substance versus a matter of form, that will determine if it is sufficient or not. A lot of this is left to the judge's discretion, whether or not it's a matter of substance or a matter of form. Yeah, but we can have a discussion on this. I will continue tomorrow at 7:10 for that live, where we look where I will continue on this. I'll make note of it. All right. So substance versus form. Because if it is by form, it can be amended or corrected. If it's a matter of substance, and it goes to the root of the issue, and therefore, for example, the comment, the particulars, the comments, and all those things on the ticket. All right. So again, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You have been a great audience on both platform. And I will see you all tomorrow again at 7:10 p.m. All right, for the weekend live. Until then, have a great and wonderful night.